Good morning, majors. How are you? So we're going to continue with our lesson on polynomials. I'm just going to do a quick review real quick. We're going to start right here. Most of you guys should have this on your notes already. But right here, we were classifying polynomials by the number of terms. So as we can see here, one term is a monomial, two terms is a binomial, three terms is a trinomial, and n is a polynomial. Okay, and examples were given down here. You guys should have this down on your notes. If not, take a minute to pause the video and copy that down. But what we're going to do is we're going to move down here um, where we can give the name, the number, and the descending order for the following polynomials. Okay, so the first polynomial right here, right? The first polynomial right here, oh, I'm sorry, my pen's not working, is going to be a negative 5, negative 2x to the 6th degree minus 3x to the 4th degree. All right, let me just get my pen here. Sorry. And I'll do this color. Perfect. Okay, so here it's standard form. So we want the standard form. Now remember, when we're putting polynomials in standard form, we always do it based off the highest degree. And our degrees are our exponents. So as you can see, we have a 6. I'm just going to circle this. And we have a 4. So if we were to put this into standard form, it would look something like a negative 2x to the 6th degree minus 3x to the 4th degree, because that's the second highest degree, and then negative 5. Now, there are 3 terms here. So based off what we have up here, when we are classifying our polynomials, we recognize that if it has 3 terms, it's called a trinomial. So I want you to write trinomial in here. All right, and then I want you to look at your polynomial that was given here and write down the highest. What is the degree of this polynomial? Remember, the degree of the polynomial is the highest degree that we have, which is 6. Wonderful. All right, so now let's go and look at the other one. So the next one says a negative 873x to the 7th degree. All right. So if we were to put it in standard form, we'd keep it right in the form that it is. So we're just going to write a negative 873, right, x to the 7th degree. So how many terms are here? If we were to look at this, we see that this right here is one term. So this would be considered to be let's go back and take a look. One term is a monomial. So I want you to write that down. And you're going to also write it down in degree. What is the highest degree that you have here? Which would be 7. Wonderful. So now we're going to go down to this next one. You know what? Let's skip this one. I'm going to put a star next to this. You guys can do this by yourselves. So you guys should do this by yourselves. But I'm going to move on to this one. This one is a little bit longer. So this one says 2x plus 3 minus 8x to the 3rd degree minus 5x to the 4th degree minus 7x to the 2nd degree. So they're wanting us to put this in standard form. Now remember, when you put it in standard form, it means that you're gonna put them in order from the highest degree to the lowest degree. So let's start. So I have a 4 here, I have a 3, and I have a 2. So if I'm going to put them in standard form, this is going to be a negative 5x to the 4th degree. Okay, so we used that one already. I'm just going to cross that out. Now the next one that we have is a negative, 8x to the 3rd degree. So I'm going to cross that out because we used it. But then right after that, we have the next one that has the highest degree is going to be your negative 7x to the second degree. So I'm going to write a negative 7x to the 2nd degree. So we use that one. Now, remember, if you have an x here, and really there's like an invisible 1 that's here. So I want you guys to just remember that. It's just like an invisible 1. So the next degree to write down would be a positive 2x, and then lastly we have a 3, so plus 3. All right, so this is what this will look like in standard form. I know it's a little messy. Just bear with me. I have to get used to using my tablet again. All right, so the next thing is that we need to name our polynomials. So this has 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So anything beyond 3 terms, any polynomial that goes beyond 3 terms is going to be considered to be a polynomial. So that's when we're going to write down here polynomial. I'm going to write it below here because I ran out of space. You guys can write it in your box right here. But polynomial. Okay, and now they want to know what is the degree of this polynomial. Now remember, the degree means it's the highest degree that we have in this polynomial. So if we were to look back, I'm going to erase this for a second. If we were to look back, erase all of this, at these degrees, your highest degree here is 4. So that means that your degree, your highest degree is going to be 4. Okay? Now before you move on, because I'm going to move on to the next page, I want you to pause the video and I want you to work this one out. Very simple. You're going to do the same thing that we did in the 3 examples that I gave you. You're going to write it in standard form. When you write it in standard form, remember you write it from the one that has the highest degree, which is going to be 4, to the lowest degree. You're going to name it. So depending on how many terms you have, which this has 2 terms, you're going to look back up at this classifying polynomials and write down what kind of polynomial it is. And then also the degree. What is the degree of the polynomial? Again, that is the highest degree that you have in the polynomial. Your highest degree is your highest exponent. Okay? So take a minute to pause and do that. So this is wonderful. So now we get to move on where we're going to be doing adding polynomials. So it's kind of like the warm-up that we did the other day where we were just combining like terms. It's very important that you guys remember how to combine your like terms. It's going to be very helpful. So we're going to combine our like terms. So even though these are in parentheses, we don't really need the parentheses. Make sure that you guys are reading your directions. Okay, we're going to be combining like terms. So even though we see parentheses, we don't really need the parentheses. So let's take a look at this that we have going on right here. So let's look at, we have a 2x to the second degree plus x minus 5 plus x to the second power plus 6. Okay? So we're going to be adding them together. When we're combining like terms, we're going to look to see which ones are the same. So I see right here that I have a 2x to the second power, but I also have an x to the second power. When we combine these together, it's going to be 2x to the second power. Actually, I'm sorry. That's going to be 3x to the second power. Not 2. It's going to be 3. Because remember, even though this is x, it's like having a 1 up front. So this is like an imaginary 1 that's right here, right? So 1x to the second power. If we were to add those together, that would be 3x to the second power. So we use both of those. We combine those terms, correct? Now let's look at the next one. Can we combine these right here? If we combine an x and an x, what does that give us? Now make sure we look at the signs in front of our x's, right? Both of them are positive, so that means it would be a plus 2x. So I use those already. I'm going to cross those out. Now we're going to combine a negative 5 and a positive 6. If you want to, put it in your calculator. So when you put it in your calculator, you're going to do parentheses and negative 5 plus 6. and that should give you 1. So we're going to add a 1 here. So altogether, when we're adding the polynomials, we have a 3x to the second degree plus 2x plus 1. All right? So let's move on to the next one. As we move on, obviously, you're going to have a lot more to add together. So it can be kind of tricky if we're not careful. So what I'm going to do here, just to make it a little bit easier for me, is I'm going to rewrite all of this here without the parentheses, okay? So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to do a 5x to the third minus x to the third plus 2x to the second degree plus 3x to the second degree plus 4x to the second degree minus x minus 4x plus 7 plus 7 minus 8. So what I did here is not only did I rewrite it without the parentheses, but I wrote it in standard form, which means if you look to see, I put all of my degrees together. So all of those terms that have the like degrees, that have the same degree, so like my 5x to the third degree minus, you see I got a minus x to the third degree plus I have a 2x to the second degree. I took my 2x, a positive 2x to the second degree, and I put plus 3x to the second degree. So I put it in standard form. I put it in standard form because it's going to be a little bit easier for me to combine like terms when I have everything already together, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and change my color, and we're going to combine these terms together. So here I have a positive 5x to the third degree and a negative x to the third degree. So if I were to add them together, that's going to give me a 4x to the third degree. Okay, so I've already used those. I've already combined those terms right there. So now we're going to move on to the next one. So now we have a 2x to the second degree plus a 3x to the second degree plus a 4x to the second degree. So all we have to do is add, because they're all positive, add a 2 together, add our 3, and add our 4. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which is going to give us a positive 9x to the second degree. So we combine all of these together because they are like terms. So that way we could end up with 9x to the second degree. Wonderful. So now we're going to go on to the next right here, where our next term, which is x and 4x. These are like terms, so we're going to add them together. But we have to be mindful. This is a negative in front of it, so it's a negative x. And this is a negative in front of the 4x. So that means that we're going to be combining like terms. So if we have a negative and a negative, so if I owe someone, now remember there's like an imaginary 1 in front of this x. I'm just going to put a 1 there. So remember, if I owe someone $1, but I also owe someone $4, altogether I owe them what? $5. So it's going to be a negative 5x. All right? So we combine those like terms, but now we have to add a positive 7, another positive 7, and a negative 8. So if you put it in your calculator, you can put 7 plus 7, right, plus a negative 8, which will give you a positive 6. So when we combine all of our like terms here, this right here, let me put a square around this. This is your answer. All right, so I'm going to give you an opportunity to do you try. However, I'm going to switch my color here. I am going to put it in standard form for you, because when you put it in standard form, it helps when you're solving these equations. So that means that I'm going to put all of my like terms together, starting with the terms that have the highest degrees. So if I put it in order, I see I have 4 here is my highest degree, okay, for the polynomials. So I'm going to go ahead and say 2x to the 4th degree. I have another 4th degree term with 4th degree, so a negative 4x to the 4th degree. Now, I use this one, I'm going to put it in order. So now, what one has the highest degree after 4? And that would be 3. So this is a positive 3x, so I'm going to write a positive 3x to the 3rd degree. And then what else? Is there another polynomial with a 3rd degree and to the 3rd degree? So now I have a minus x to the 3rd degree. Cross that out, okay? Now I'm looking to see what I have left. I see I have 2 terms with x's in them, so I'm going to go ahead and write them down. So that's going to be a negative 2x. I'm just going to cross it out so I can remember that I used it, plus a 6x right here. I'm going to cross it out so I can remember that I used it. Now I just have right here a positive 8 and a negative 9, so I'm going to go ahead and add that on the end. So I have a positive 8 and a negative 9. Now, at this point, based off of what we've done before, you should be able to combine your like terms. I'm going to kind of just make it easy for you so you guys know those should be combined. Remember to look at your signs. These should be combined. Remember to look at your signs. These should be combined. And these should be combined. You have to look at the sign in front of your term. This is a positive 8. This is a negative 9. This is a negative 2x, a positive 6x, and so forth when you're combining your like terms. So you guys go ahead and do that right now. You guys can pause the video and take care of that. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. So right here, I'm going to put this in standard form for you guys. And then I would like you guys to go ahead and solve. Okay? So I see here we have, remember we're going to put it in standard form, means you put it from highest degree to lowest degree. So I see my highest degree here is a 7, and I have 2 7s, and I have 3s, and then I just have x's. Okay, so I'm going to put a negative x to the 7th degree, so I use that, plus x to the 7th degree, I use that. My next highest degree is going to be 3, so I have a negative 5x to the 3rd degree, and then I also have a negative 3x to the 3rd degree. I'm going to cross those out. So now I see I have x's. That would be my next highest degree. Remember, when you have your x, you have like an imaginary 1 up there, okay? So I have a positive 2x. I'm going to cross it out because I put it in standard form already. And then I have a negative x right here. I'm going to go ahead and cross that out, okay? Now I just have an 18 and an 8, so I'm going to go ahead and add that on. So I have a positive 18 and I have a negative 8. Now something that I want to bring up here, let me go ahead and change this color real quick, is that anytime that you have a negative and a positive of the same thing, they're going to cancel out. So I want you to remember that. So if I have a negative x to the 7th degree plus x to the 7th degree, I have a negative and a positive of the same, they're going to cancel each other out. Okay? Then you're going to combine these two, and you're going to combine these two, and you're going to combine these two. All right? This right here is going to be for extra credit. I will give you an extra 4 points if you choose to work on that. All right, majors, I think at this point, let me check to see what we have. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. We're going to do a quick review, and then I'll come back with subtracting polynomials.